Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
Ain't gonna hurt.
Is my boomstick!
Game over, man. It's game over.
Welcome to the Bargain Bin. He is your host, Ben Mason.
And he's your co-host, Sandra Luketic. And today we're talking 1992's Pet Sematary 2. As always, we assume if you're listening to this episode, you have already seen the movie. And we know that we've all seen the movie, but this time we have a special guest. Mr. John Nolet is joining us. It was a movie that he it suggested that we should cover at some point, and I figured why not have him on so he can explain why he did this to us. So, John, welcome.
Thank you.
Give us a little bit of an idea of your history with the film.
Well, I don't have a ton of history with the film, actually. Like the first one, the 1989 version, it's probably in my top 3 favorite horror movies. Absolutely awesome. And I have this thing where if I like something enough, then I'm actually afraid to dip further into the catalog. I do that with music all the time. I'll find an album that I really like, and there'll be 7 other albums, and I'm going to stick with this one. Anyway, last year I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to watch it. And I could not have prepared myself for what I was about to see. I still can't tell if this movie is supposed to be funny or not. Anyway, we'll get into that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's it kind of comes across at times as an unintentional comedy before I think eventually they just accepted it and let it be what it truly was. But Sandra, what's your history with this film?
I knew that it existed.
So par for the course, really, with most of what we cover.
No, there's a lot of stuff that we cover that I didn't know existed. This one, I at least had.
That's fair.
I'm not joking. Like, there's a lot of movies where you're like, hey, this is what we're reviewing. And be like, never heard of it. This is like, okay, I know the name, but I've never seen it.
Mm-hmm. It's a weird one for me because I did buy the VHS when I could back in the day. And I remember really enjoying the movie a lot. But I think I liked it so much because it was so very different than the original. And I feel bad. I go back and forth in the original a lot. Sometimes I think about it fondly, and other times I really have some negative opinions. But I think this should speak truer because every time I have those negative opinions, it's right after I watched the movie. So maybe I didn't like it. I just really wanted to. This one, however, I loved back in the day, and I haven't watched it in a long time until John brought it up and watched it again. And I will let you know in about an hour and a half how I actually feel about it.
Well, I have a thought.
Uh-huh.
If you're gonna make something that's very different from the original, don't call it a sequel.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from there, but it's the same director, Mary Lambert, as the first movie, and from what I had read, I don't know if it's true or not. The only reason she agreed, and John and I talked about this, the only reason she agreed to come back for this one is if she had free creative control, and that went out the window almost immediately. So I'm not entirely sure whose idea this was, but I think it kind of turned a little garbled.
Well, and like as far as sequels that don't match the tone of the first movie, this feels like the grand tradition of like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, where like the first movie was so wholesome and sweet, and then the second movie they're in hell, And anyway, but
yeah, I think you could say the same thing about Terminator 1 and 2.
That's true.
And Alien and Aliens.
Sometimes the best in the trilogy, or however many the franchise, that's the word that I'm looking for. Sometimes it's number 2. That's, I think maybe in this case that might also be true.
Oh, interesting. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, very different than the first one. But like if I'm having friends over to watch a movie, Um, yeah, I think part two is probably the better choice for a crowd.
I'll agree with that. I will definitely get more into that part on my final thoughts. But yeah, as far as entertainment goes, this one over the first for sure. So I'll say we'll just jump right into the notes on this one, eh, guys?
That's good.
Let's do it.
All right, so we open on the interior of a Gothic castle, only for it to be quickly revealed as a horror movie set. And we meet our actor in this film, Renee. Decent acting, I would say, for what the role is, but we have to acknowledge that this is a weak opening, yes?
Yeah, I mean it's a movie in a movie.
Define weak.
Weak in its delivery, because it looks fine, but as far as the story goes, it's way too rushed. And they should have at least given us a bit more time with this scenario to build some tension before the reveal. And I know we've talked about it before off mic, but I say that Bordello of Blood took what this movie was trying to do and did it so much better. It just felt cheap, it felt too fast, and it started off on the wrong foot for me.
I was going to say it felt like it didn't belong in this movie.
And that's just it.
Yeah.
It does. Do we need this? Do we need the set? Do we need Renee's on-screen death? Do we need her to be an actor? Why can't she just be Jeff's mother who passed away and he can't get over it?
Well, they had to capitalize on Eddie Furlong screaming for his mother, in the shadow of Terminator 2. So that probably
didn't think
played
about
into it
that.
a little bit.
No, that's a very good point.
The way it's like, which movie am I watching? But yeah, no, this absolutely did not need to be in the movie. It could have just been like a quick little text preamble or like whatever, or like, hey kid, sorry about your mom. That's done.
Yeah, you could just have him having a conversation with his father, and it comes up naturally through that, organically through a father-son conversation. The father's having a tough time, and the son is dealing with grief for the first time in his life. I think that would have been a much better take on this. But that, I think, is way too heavy for the movie that follows the scene.
That's true. It's got a camp to it, this scene, that really does fit the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And Jeff's trying to get his parents back together. That's how we know they split up. And his father wants to, and his mother is surprisingly being open to them all meeting up for dinner, which I found strange, but also kind of nice, because she tells him, like, yeah, we can do it, but like don't have any expectations. I'm for the first time I'm thinking, okay, I could probably get behind this character, but that doesn't last long. So we roll camera on the next take, and the first thing that really not upset me but caught me off guard is how blatant of a ripoff of the music they use is of the Halloween theme. It's
in this
like,
scene.
Oh yeah, it's a Temu Halloween for sure. There's excess water on the stage that sparks off a power box that gets knocked over, and that's what electrocutes Renee to death. It also leads to some of the worst acting I've ever seen.
From Renee?
Oh my god, it's terrible. And from everybody involved, even the director.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah, we took so many attempts at this. We reshot this scene 18 times. It's 2 a.m. I'm tired. I want to go home. What line do I have to say? Did you get it? Good, great. I'm fucking out of here. That's the entire feeling of this scene. And as I'm so unimpressed with this and dreading what comes next, we just cut to a dog being put down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, movie, you're not giving me much hope here.
So what you're saying is that the mom who passed away is going to be resurrected in this dog?
Yeah, it's actually a family-friendly story.
Relay for Beethoven.
Oh god. A little bit of a
So-
twist on the classic Beethoven or Top Dog. You guys remember Top Dog?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, the sunglasses.
Yeah, a
Oh no,
dog
that
with
was Bingo.
sunglasses. Oh, that was Bingo, not Top Dog. I was thinking Bingo.
Hmm.
Oh, Sandro,
Of
get ready for that. That one's coming.
the countless buds.
It's like 13 of them, 16 of them.
Right? Jesus.
Dr. Chase Matthews, played by Anthony Edwards. He's the one putting the dog down. He's Jeff's father. And he gets a call letting him know about this tragedy. And I'm like, all right, so we're starting off somber, but comedically somber, and then it gets dark. But then we fade to a funeral, which, in my opinion, looks like an intro to a Guns N' Roses video.
How much?
Oh, God. But this is where I have a question. Why are the bullies there?
Small town? Maybe?
That can be the only answer, right?
I think so,
There's
yeah.
nothing to do. It's like a Sunday afternoon. It's kind of overcast. Let's go to the graveyard.
Yeah.
I don't think it's so much that. I think it's just that, like, this isn't Edward Furlong's funeral where you're wondering why the bullies are there. It's the parents. So maybe the bullies' parents had a relationship, right? Like, that has nothing to do with the bullies themselves.
So wait, no, because Renee, we assume, was in Hollywood, right?
That was my thought, but they never tell us.
Yeah. I mean, but then she wouldn't have been meeting the dad for supper. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing doesn't make any sense, John.
Yeah, they also wouldn't have flown her from fucking Los Angeles to wherever in Maine to be buried. Well, maybe, I don't know, but probably not.
Well, something tells me they no longer have a family plot, but maybe she was from there. I don't know. Like this movie just does things and like accept it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then we get what I remember when I from watching this decades ago is the saving grace of this film, Clancy Brown as Sheriff Gus Gilbert.
I guess
Oh, how do we feel about Clancy in this movie?
he's got a great redemption arc. We'll get there.
Sure.
I think as the sheriff, he's a little bit too. It's like he didn't quite know like what setting to put it on to be like an asshole. Like it's just a little bit too sinister in my mind, a little bit too over the top for what like a sheriff slash stepdad is gonna be. But I guess
Yeah.
it does make the movie.
But I do agree with what you're saying in that he didn't know what level set it at, what tone it was, because he does not fit in this story at all until he does. And when he does, holy shit, this movie goes off the rails. So Jeff and Chase move into a new house, which leads me to believe that this divorce is very recent. So I guess it does kind of explain him trying to reconnect. But the one thing that stood out to me is that the movers have 6 wardrobes full of Renee's clothes. And did you see the look on the movers' face when he asks if they actually want them in the attic? It's pure terror.
I didn't catch that.
Oh my god! Like he looks afraid, and it's just like, this is your job. This is your job. You're holding the box by yourself. If you're too afraid to get it up the stairs, ask for help. But that's just the weird quirkiness of this movie, and it is ever present.
Oh, every shot.
Kind of like Marjorie. We meet this new housekeeper.
Yeah, where'd she come from?
And immediately Chase is 100% in. But do you find it weird that when it's revealed that Marjorie is a Renee super fan, that Chase isn't like, you need to get out of my house?
I honestly don't know how I would react if I were in his shoes.
Like he's like, you can tell that he's totally taken aback by her beauty, but that would be a hard no if he was a good person. Like, Oh, you're obsessed with my dead wife? May as well basically move on in.
Yeah, yikes.
So the new vet clinic.
The pet veterinary.
Yeah. Set Deck must have had a blast with this place. And then Sandra, I wish we kept tally of how many times we had like cat scares in the titles we've covered.
Nah.
But no, there'd be too many. There'd be too many. But they know the path to my heart because we get a bunch of kittens. And they are adorable. So much that it makes Jeff agree to clean the kennels if he can keep one.
Is Jeff really a cat person? I mean, the character is, but like, it doesn't. Something about it just sort of rang a little. I don't know. I didn't read
Disingenuous?
that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like oh, this will
It's
work for
because
the
he
plot.
doesn't know how to hold a cat. It's like
Yeah,
Edward Furlong has never picked up a kitten before. And keep in mind, this movie's called Pet Sematary 2. We know what's happening to the cat.
Yeah.
Or at least we think we do. We meet up with Drew, who is the sheriff's son, and Drew's dog, Zowie. And Zoe was attacked by rabbits. Have either of you ever heard of that happening?
No. It's always a big fucking dog too. Pardon my French, but yeah, to be attacked by rabbits that we find out very shortly are in cages.
Yeah.
That didn't make a ton of sense, but sure.
Think about how many times we've said that already.
Yeah, we're not even 15 minutes into the movie.
Gus asks Jeff if he knew that he and Jeff's mother used to date. My next note just says, oof.
So gross. So gross.
Read the room, man.
This man doesn't know how to read a thing, I can tell you. But the look on Chase's face immediately makes me think this is the farthest away you can get from a masculine man. Like, he has no confidence whatsoever. And
it's so.
yeah, it just, I hate.
I also find like I've never found myself in a situation where I wanted to brag to somebody about how I banged their partner. You know, like
Slight correction. Their recently deceased partner, adding all the more purpose to it.
Yeah, and not just that, but Gus maintains eye contact with Chase after he says it. So he knows what he's doing. And immediately I think we're all sitting here being like, yeah, that's our villain. Like, there's no way around it. So we get Jeff's first day at his new school. And I have to ask you both, who takes a cat to school?
No one.
Jeff does.
No one ever.
Nope.
I have never heard of that. Like, what is the possible thought process? Like, is it just going to shit in his desk? Is he going to keep it in the locker? You're not keeping it in your coat. But then, of course, the bullies confront Jeff. Did anybody recognize the head bully Clyde from anything else from our youth?
No. I mean, like he looked familiar, but I figured that he just kind of looked like Alex Winter's character from The Lost Boys.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. He honestly, when I first rewatched this, I thought it was Edward Furlong's friend from T2, not the kid.
Yeah, no, nope.
He was from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh,
remember the kid who had the hat with the bill flipped up in front?
Oh my god, yeah. There's a movie I haven't seen in over 30 years.
But
cool.
Clyde steals the kitten. Okay. Sandra hates when I do this, but I have to say, did anybody feel like this day at school was a little off in timing of the entire scene?
Yeah, it seemed like they took off at like, I don't know, it felt like between recess and lunch. It didn't really feel like it was, close to the end of the day at all.
Yeah, we saw him in one class and then they left. And school's done for the day. The chase scene with the bullies steal the kitten and they take off on bikes. Multiple shots of Clyde hanging onto the kitten, cut back to him, and there's no cat in sight.
Is this where we established that it actually is the same universe as like the first Pet Cemetery movie? Like when he drives by the house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great attempt, in my opinion, of making us hate Clyde when he's holding up the kitten and screaming at it. And right after that, John, is where we get the obligatory reference to the first film as they pass the old Creed house. And that's when the bullies tell Jeff about the lore. And Clyde takes a dig at Renee, which leads to possibly the shittiest fight I've seen in a movie. And
It was pretty
obviously,
weak.
Jeff does not win.
No.
Next
No, we
question. Jeff was not far behind the bullies for the entire chase, yet somehow they get all the way down the path to the cemetery and back before he even shows up. I've given up on the movie at this point.
At least for it making any sense. I mean, maybe there's like a back way or something like that. I mean, they know the town better than Jeff does.
I guess, but
that's pretty generous.
Yeah. Sandra, where are you on this at this point?
Are these bullies? I'm not sure about the relationship here, because later on, they're all just hanging out.
Yeah, I found that really, really strange.
Like, so many, like, already I had so many questions. Like, did the divorce portion of the relationship need to be there if she passed away and they had to move to a new house? Everything else would still work the same as to why they had the clothes, why they had to move. We had to move because we didn't want to stay in our old family house. Not necessary. Are these bullies? Why are they fighting? Who takes a cat to school? Like, why this movie intro? I don't know why anything is happening in this movie so far.
Yeah, right down to you're divorced. Why do you have all of her clothes?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. She could have, not to say that that's what we want to happen, but she could have just passed away. Everything in this movie would have still worked.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying at the beginning. Like they're going out of the way to make the movie more ridiculous than it needs to be. There is a legit good horror film in here somewhere. I can feel it. But they do their best to make sure it's just goofy and confusing and nonsensical.
Yeah, spoiler, that never changes.
Yeah, and like I did have a problem with how quickly Drew befriends Jeff because Drew is with the bullies.
Yeah.
But that gets thrown out the window. And my next note just says, Gus and the rabbits. This guy seems all right. Nothing wrong here.
What was he doing with the rabbits in the first scene there?
Staring at them menacingly?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, it just didn't really seem to make any, well, we're going to hear that a whole lot of sense. But.
So when Jeff returns home, my note just says, I'm already getting the vibe that Chase and Marjorie are banging.
Because he didn't go right home.
Yeah, well, you read the room, like Sandro always says. And if I were there, I'd be the guy to pull Jeff aside and be like, dude, open your eyes. Because then we get the obligatory "you're not my mom" scene. And okay, all right, both of you. Do you find it hard to root for Jeff?
It's in some ways, sure. I mean, in some ways, he's just like a spoiled brat kid, but he does have some kind of sympathetic moments. But yeah.
Am I supposed to root for him? I'm very lost here.
That's a great point. They're not doing a good job of setting up strong characters other than the people that we're supposed to dislike.
Here's a question for you. Why would I root for the character who is only bookended as the protagonist while the entire middle portion is someone else?
That's a great question.
If you can answer right now, who's the protagonist in this movie?
Drew.
Right, except for when we focus on Jeff at the beginning, which, okay, I don't mind the misdirect one time. It happens. You know, hey, we're going to start with this, but then we're going to give you the real protagonist. But then later, they kind of go back to him as this almost like insane, like anti-hero protagonist kind of character. And you're like, what happened to the entire middle act? Why are you going back to this now?
In a film where the strongest characters are the least likable, you fail in giving your audience something to cheer for, which at that point, in my opinion, means you failed making a movie. Because if you don't care about the people you're supposed to care for, and you end up wanting to see more of the villains, you messed up.
Or maybe you didn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Prove that one, John.
Oh, well, I'm not going to prove that, but I mean, it would be par for the course for the rest of the movie too.
I guess, you're not wrong.
It's almost like Mary Lambert was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Wait, wasn't this supposed to be about Jeff? You know what though? I like this story with Drew better. So yeah, we're just gonna say fuck it. Okay, but what about the third act? Do you let me deal with that?
Yeah, or not. We'll
Or
just
not.
piece something together.
Ben, we've seen this before. Does it not feel like this was two movies fused together? Seriously, take the Jeff portions that bookend the movie. We got the movie scene at the beginning. We got him going insane at the end. Spoiler, which we're going to get to anyway. And like, then look at the entire middle period with the other family. Because really, Jeff and his dad seem to have like no bearing on that. Does it not seem like they were just like, all right, let's just put these two together and make it a movie?
Yeah, I definitely get that vibe. I really, really do. It felt like they're grabbing at straws for a good chunk of this. And remember when I said Mary Lambert only agreed to do this because she would have free creative reign? She wanted the lead to be a younger teenage girl. And the studio's like, no. No one's going to watch that. We're going to change him to a boy, and we're going to cast Edward Furlong. And she's like, well, I'm not going to put any effort in here.
Really? Like, just make Edward Furlong the main antagonist then, because he is so distraught that he wants to bring his mom back to life. And he could be the catalyst for all the negative things that happened. Yes, it would put a little bit of a damper on what Clancy Brown does in the movie, which is fantastic, but like, at least then you could have some coherency and some continuity.
Yeah.
And now here's something. Like, so imagine Lambert got her way and was able to, have her Ellie Creed be the main character. That I can't imagine this movie with that character. Like, it just would have to be a completely different story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have to be good.
I don't know. I could see it where if like this female lead that we're talking about was siblings with Edward Furlong's character, and they're both grieving their mother's loss in two different ways, where then they also become more directly conflicted when Edward Furlong goes off the deep end and tries to bring back the dead.
Sure, but I think it would have been better if we get rid of the Jeff character altogether and just have like John said, this Ellie Creed style character, and that would make so much more sense.
I think it was actually intended to be Ellie Creed, if I remember reading that correctly.
That would be great.
And it would actually be Pet Sematary movie.
Yeah, right.
Why stop at getting rid of Jeff? Why not just get rid of this movie altogether?
No, because there's, like I said, there's potential here, man. Because if you have that teenage girl character as your lead, her relationship with Renee makes so much more sense. Her standoffishness with Chase makes so much more sense as opposed to Jeff just being a mopey bastard. Like, it actually gives some weight to the character's journey and her grief and her dealing with school and bullies, because I think the bullies focusing on her would be even more of an interesting take, and then have her turn at the end. I think that's a riveting horror film right there.
Yeah, but it's also not Pet Sematary. That like you're making a good movie out of this by making a completely different movie.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. Should have been done.
But at least, making a better movie, but one that's actually, based on the source material.
Yeah, this is almost like the equivalent of a lost film that was found, and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" This should have been shelved. It really should have been shelved. Like, we can't release this. Like, no one's gonna watch this, and we'll get to the numbers later. But like, what a mess of a movie!
So I've been off on asking you guys because I wanted to save it more towards the end, but I might as well just do it right now. Do you two think that there would be any redeeming this if they had just separated themselves from the Pet Sematary name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think it could have just been its own silly, weird horror movie, kind of like Idle Hands or something like that. I think the only thing that really kind of anchors this to the original is them bringing up the Creed family every 20 minutes or so. Like, if without those references to the Creed family, and obviously the Micmac burial ground,
Yeah.
it's a completely different movie.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody would question it if it just had like a burial ground that brought people back to life. Like nobody would be like, "Oh, you took that from Pet Sematary," if that was the only connection, right? So you take away the Creed talk, and you got a whole different movie that's not Pet Sematary, and maybe people's view of it changes drastically.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I think that most likely would be the case. But at this time in 1992, if you released this movie and it didn't have that Pet Sematary attachment, I don't really think it would have done any better. I think it might have actually done worse. And that's why we keep getting references to the Creeds. And like, Sandro, I can't remember. Did we cover Pet Sematary?
Nope.
No. Have you seen Pet Sematary?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you remember most about Pet Sematary?
A little kid gets hit by a truck and a shoe goes flying and doesn't make any sense with physics.
No. True. Okay. If that's what stands out to you, I totally understand it. For me, it's something different.
When I watched it when I was young and that scene happened, Mike made a comment about, I think it was like Nike's durability, and it just had me howling, and that always stood out. Nothing survived except for the shoe, which somehow went flying in an opposite direction, but there you go.
Well, and then like Gage, the little boy who gets hit, he's still in one piece enough that they're able to bury him.
I was gonna bring that up. I'm like, that would be just like mush.
Yeah, that kid would have been liquefied.
John, what do you remember most about the first movie?
Oh, geez, Victor Pascal. I love that character. I think he's really cool.
Really? I did not expect that one.
Yeah, that and the Ramones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, like I said, it's one of my all-time favorite horror movies. So I've seen it like a bunch of times, and yeah, that's so. What do I remember? I remember all of it pretty damn vividly.
That's great. It's like me and Biodome.
There you go.
God.
But aside from the constant references to the Creed family, like, I think what they're really trying to hang on to is one of my favorite elements of the original film, and that was Fred Gwynn's portrayal as Judd Crandall. That voice, the whole like the memorable lines of like sometimes dead is better. You don't want to go down that road. They bring that accent back with Gus.
That's true.
Yeah,
He's like the only one who carries it.
exactly. And I feel like for a lot of people, Judd Crandall is Pet Sematary. I've asked a few people, and more often than not, that's the response I get. That's why I'm surprised you two had such totally different answers. But I love that. And I'd never noticed it before, but it is a nice tip of the hat to the original film.
Definitely anchors it in Maine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Even though it takes place in a completely different town that must border the original town, I guess. Who cares? Nothing has to make sense in this anymore.
Yeah, the geography looks all different.
It does. It's completely different. Completely.
Yeah.
And we only get one scene with a truck.
Right. Yeah. Where are all these trucks that are supposed to be like burning through every minute and a half or so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was really thinking about this today. I feel like I feel like Rob Zombie took a lot of inspiration from the family dynamics in this movie.
Do tell.
You look at the sheriff's family and you throw in a lot of swearing, and you've got the opening to Rob Zombie's Halloween. Even the characters in general. Like, I really don't think there's anyone in the movie we can actually like. It's Drew, maybe, sure. But like, I think there's no one here that they can convey that we're supposed to like, because they tell us that Jeff is our main character, but we don't give a shit about Jeff. We don't give a shit about anybody. And I feel that in a lot of Rob Zombie films. It's almost like this weird, like, redneck, hillbilly family dynamic where, like, there's one person who doesn't really fit in, and you know they're not really going to make it because life is just too hard and the world is a mean bitch. And that's what I get from this movie.
Yeah, there's kind of like an undertone of nihilism through the whole thing.
Yeah. Chase asks his son if he's all right while Jeff is watching one of his mother's movies, which is one of the dumbest things you could probably do. And we've talked about Chase and Gus and not Drew, and I think we will later. But Chase, is he the weakest character in this movie?
I think so. Yeah, he's kind of like a waste of space.
Doesn't do anything.
Dog didn't really last very long.
And he's always a step behind everyone else. Yes, I got that, by the way.
What? The first zombified being in this just gets shot. You're like, oh, big threat. Okay.
Yeah, there's just so many questions about this character. Like, things we've touched on already, like the marriage didn't work out, but he wanted it to. We don't know how long they've been apart. He seemed distraught at the funeral. Originally thought he was like already moving on when the whole Marjorie thing happened, because originally I thought it was creepy. So I'm trying to I'm as a viewer, as the audience, I am trying to give this character backstory so that he makes sense to be in the movie that I'm watching him in. That's not a good job.
Not at all. And the fact that he's sitting there watching his wife's old movie and watching her get killed.
Yeah.
That's probably not something I would be doing if I was in his shoes, but
dude,
sure.
Like, if you walk in, if you know your son is distraught about the recent death of his mother after separation or divorce between his parents, and he's watching a movie that his mother starred in where she's being murdered, the last thing you do is ask if he's okay. There's got to be a different lead in. But after that, we cut to a sex scene and Zowie getting shocked from the rabbit pen. So Gus shoots the dog.
The logical thing to do.
Yeah. Definitely hammers home that Gus is the villain.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was the point.
That the movie is not doing well, because I'm like, oh, that's awful. What's Gus going to do next?
No, I think that was sort of where his mean spirit kind of jumped the shark for me. Like, oh yeah, of course he's gonna go shoot the dog because that's what a mean person would do. Like somebody in the third grade wrote this film.
Yeah, exactly. Do we think that Edward Furlong is a good actor in this? Don't have to go too in depth because we have awards, but Do we think Jeff is a good character in this?
He's pretty mid as a character.
Oh, this character sucks, and if this was the only thing I'd seen Edward Furlong in, I'd think he was terrible.
Drew and Jeff bury Zowie at the Indian burial ground. But if Jeff doesn't believe in the myth, why is he so freaked out?
Maybe he just doesn't like graveyards. He was just in one for a different reason.
Fair.
This pet cemetery.
Yeah.
This pet cemetery reminds me of my mom.
Well, not necessarily the pet cemetery, but like, yeah, he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, he probably just doesn't want to be reminded of it. Oh, well, then again, he's watching the movies, so maybe he does want to be reminded. I don't get this character.
I don't get this character either. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody makes any fucking sense in this movie. It's like they just slam them all together and like, maybe it'll work. I don't know. Like, the way this movie tackles grief is absolutely absurd, because that is the entire plot of this movie. The point of this movie, the heart of this movie, is grief. How do we deal when we lose loved ones? Drew asks, no, Drew doesn't ask. He just says, I've never had anyone die before, but I guess you get over it. And Jeff says, no, you never get over it. It's been what, a week? And did it take them 16 hours to bury the damn dog? Because they met up in daylight and then went home the next morning. I guess they just hung out and talked. But then Gus finds Drew and mentions that he took off in the middle of the night. So even the timeline doesn't work in this movie.
Yeah, there's some holes.
And then So this movie is just holes.
I'd like to say, though, Ben, you said that grief is like the major theme. I'd agree that it's the major theme for the bookended portions of the movie. The middle.
Okay, sure.
The middle does not scream grief to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fight you on that.
The entire Gus thing, it's like, I don't know what it is. Like, they almost resurrect him out of guilt, not grief. And then it's more just punishment. I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah, neither does anyone else or the people who made this. And John, I know you love this movie and we're ripping it apart, but that's part of the fun. And just because we're ripping it apart doesn't mean I don't have a different opinion.
No, that's what's great about this movie. It's like there's so much to take in. Like, despite all of its flaws, it is very entertaining.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What I find, like, kind of like, if you take the movie as a whole, it's supposed to be a horror movie, but there's not really a whole lot of scares. It really is just sort of like a lot of traumatic moments put together in a movie.
There is a lot of trauma.
And I'm trying to think of another horror movie that's like that, and I'm sort of at a loss. Like, I don't even think there's no jump scares in this movie, except for, well, maybe we'll get there.
Yeah, there was the cat scare that we've had, but that was pretty much it. There are a couple more which we'll touch on.
Yeah.
That night, Zowie comes back and tries to get into the rabbit pen. Here's another hole in this movie. How long does it take after something is buried in that burial ground before they come back? Because it seems pretty convenient to whatever's happening in the plot.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they never establish it, so that way it's nice and elastic.
Yeah, and I know we're being really hard on the movie, and I think this is something we should just kind of let go, but I did find it really strange and a glaring problem. But it's weird that when this is such a glaring issue with the movie, but it's so minimal compared to the rest, you're like, sure, why not?
I don't see why you are having difficulty accepting that it takes different amounts of time to get out of the graveyard.
Yeah, I suppose it would be easier for Gus than a dog.
Put a human and a dog in a hole. They're not going to dig out at the same speed.
Yeah, but the dog gets out before Clyde gets out.
Dogs are natural diggers.
But the dog takes an entire day, and Gus takes like an hour. 2 hours?
Yeah, he's got hands and arms. Like, clearly
So
you're
does
not paying
Renee.
attention.
So does Clyde.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Stop it right now.
Okay, okay.
Drew gets scolded by his parents for lying about burying the dog. And I'm like, okay, sure. But nobody else sees that the dog's eyes are glowing red. And Chase shows up with his mobile vet clinic. And my initial thought here is you should call the authorities. And then immediately I'm like, well, no, because you won't work when you're reporting the sheriff to the sheriff. So they got me on that one.
And has anybody else seen? Wait, but has anybody ever seen like a mobile pet veterinary service?
I
Is that a
haven't,
thing?
but I think it's a brilliant idea.
I think it's probably a little bit more common in rural areas where it's a little bit tougher to get to one central medical facility. But I'm more interested in why Gus is reprimanding them for lying about burying the dog when it's like, you do remember shooting him, right? Like, you're not questioning the fact that the dog you shot, buried or not, is standing there? Okay.
I did find this really interesting about Gus, though. I'm glad you brought that up because he is so hell bent on instilling rules in other people's lives while not believing in rules for himself. And while I really enjoy the character, I find that it's really messed up that this stands out. Characteristics of the villain stand out more, and you're like, oh, I see where this is coming from. And it makes you wonder about his background. And it takes you out of the movie, and you're like, why am I worried about what turned this guy into a villain as opposed to the hero I'm supposed to root for, or the story that's happening right now? And it's just a movie to not analyze. I think we can agree on that. But when you do, Jesus Christ, this movie's a disaster.
It's a recurring musical motif that comes like they use for the score. That sounds an awful lot like the MASH theme, does it not?
Yes, it does. I started singing the MASH theme to it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
I was like, where have I heard this before? And then I just sort of like, anyway.
Yeah. And this movie is trying to succeed, like we briefly touched on before, on nostalgia of other things that were better.
That's so true.
It really is. I have to ask you both about Jeff's nightmare. Like the dog monster, the dead mother, the devil dog. I think it was actually a pretty well done sequence, which caught me off guard because this is not a well done film. Did this stand out to either of you?
I'll be honest, it didn't. Like, I mean, yeah,
That's
I
fine.
think it's well done. I think it works and it fits. It just sort of like in my mind sort of felt like it was by the numbers, you know?
Okay. It definitely fits to a formula. I just think it was really well done.
Mm.
3 days
the
later,
room elongating and sorry. Yeah,
no, that's fine.
That was
Like the mask work and everything I thought was great.
really cool shots.
Yeah. Chase can't understand why the dog isn't healing. I say, as a vet, if you can't find a heartbeat in an animal, I don't know if you can just assume that the dog is weak, and you probably shouldn't be a veterinarian.
Men of science.
Yeah.
Oh, he's such a pussy though. I don't want to insult the dog. He's right here. He's not dead. He just doesn't have a pulse. He's eating that kitten over there.
From that dumb scene, we jump to it's Halloween now. And Sandra, you referenced this earlier. Can anybody explain to me what was supposed to happen in this scene? Because Drew and Jeff show up at a cemetery, at the cemetery, for a party, and Jeff asks where everyone is, and the bullies pull a prank on him. Okay.
Yeah. Just because.
There's no preamble. We didn't hear about this before. We knew that, or we saw that Drew wasn't supposed to go out because he was grounded for lying about burying Zowie. And Gus finds out that Amanda let Drew go to the party. So we cut to the cemetery, and like Sandra said, everyone's just hanging out.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't at all. Also, the line delivery when Drew's mom is telling Gus, he's like, "Where is he?" And she just says, "Pet cemetery," like it's like he's at the Red Lobster or something like that. He's not at the Pet Cemetery. No, he is at Pet Cemetery. Oh, yeah, that place. Anyway,
we were saying that they keep referring to the previous film. So when Clyde tells the story of the Creed family and gets almost everything wrong, I was just left horribly confused. Because they pride themselves so much on me, like, check that out. Creed family house. Gus speaks like Judd. There's the burial ground. We got everything right. Remember this? Oh yeah, here's the plot of the previous movie that we got completely wrong.
I didn't even catch that, Ben.
Oh, it's terrible. Everything about it is wrong. But what did you guys feel about Gus arriving at the party?
Speaking of by the numbers, we sort of saw that coming, didn't we?
Oh, I didn't see Gus about to murder his stepson with a cross.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
Yeah.
Again, with the over the top.
Yeah. This whole thing's over the top. And honestly, I think that's probably one of the strengths of the movie at this point.
It's like Drew's mom let him go to the party, and then Gus just wants to show up and murder him. It's like, I don't believe these two get along as a couple.
Yeah.
No, she must be pretty lonely.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up, because I have no idea why these two are together. Other than small town, try and find something stable.
Yep.
Like, I hate this person, but he'll support whatever I need, and my life will be forever hell. But yeah, John, you were saying?
Well, no, just you and I both grew up in fairly rural parts of Nova Scotia, and you see a lot of that.
Sad but true. Yes. Yeah. Zoe shows up, rips a hole in Gus's neck, which I thought was a great scene. But retcons the first film again, in my opinion. Because have we ever seen a scenario in the first film where whatever was buried on those burial grounds came back as anything other than an asshole? So I guess you could say it's set up that Zowie was protecting Drew, but then you could make the argument that Zowie was killing Gus because Gus killed Zowie. But then why wait until Drew's about to die? It to me, the whole thing was just kind of lost in translation of what we were supposed to get out of that. Because the dog seemed so selective in his actions. And before it just seemed like the other things like Church was just the cat was biding its time until it could attack and do some damage.
Yeah. Church's presence in the first movie was a lot more just kind of savory is not the word. Yeah, scary. Yeah, and he was a presence. It wasn't just like a series of like now this happens. It was he was just sort of lurking and waiting for the moment, right?
Yeah, because Zowie's just kind of being a dick. In the first movie, when Church was in the room, people feel like, oh shit. And, like, you don't do anything. You're just like waiting for it to leave, hoping that it leaves. Here, the dog's just around doing dog things.
And with different fur and different scenes. I don't know if anybody else noticed that.
I did notice that. Yeah, definitely not the same dog. And definitely different puppets.
At least 3 dogs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. Continuity in this movie. Let it go. I don't know why the boys thought it'd be smart to bring Gus back to life.
They don't even really like deliberate on it at all. It's just like, okay, this is what we're doing now. Are you sure you want to do that? Like no, none of that. Anyway.
Yeah, because they know the dog technically is dead. It's not healing. They just watched it murder a man. Putting Gus in that same ground is not going to bring him back any better. I did find it kind of funny, though, that as they're burying him, Clancy Brown keeps squinting his eyes. But I do have to say, at this very point, I acknowledge that this movie is ridiculous and I don't care anymore. So I'm going along with it.
Incidentally, this is the major turning point in the movie.
It really is.
This is when it gets really fun.
Fun is the best way to describe it. Right down to like cheeky lines, like Drew's scolded by Amanda when he gets home, and he just says, "We just ditched Gus." Like, yeah, you definitely pretty much just put him in a ditch. Jeff scolding by Chase was ridiculous. I've been letting you get away with a lot these last few weeks. Like, what have you been letting him get away with?
Watching movies of your mother.
Yeah. Being sad. You wuss. Been letting you get away with so much. And at this point, I just hate Chase. Like, you're the worst character.
Well, and I find like he changes depending on what's convenient to the plot. Like in some scenes, he's just like brick dumb. And then there's other scenes where, he's actually like, a bit useful in doing things, but like it's like his only reason for being there is to have something for the other people to like bounce off of, I guess.
Yeah. I feel so bad for the actor, for Anthony Edwards, because I'm watching this. I'm like, you're Goose in Top Gun. You're so much better than this. And then, yes, he does go on to a very successful career in ER. But Gus returns. And my next note just says, and the movie just got good. His encounter with Drew in the entrance, I think, is amazing. With the whole, when he taps on the window and he's saying he's lost his keys, and then he's just in the doorway, he's like, found him.
He falls going up the stairs.
Yeah, it's stumbling in a weird comedic way, but it's also really unnerving and actually kind of scary. Like, all right, this is kind of giving me like Demon Knight vibes now. Like, this is him owning the movie, much like Billy Zane took over that entire film.
It's true. And actually, that you mentioned it, Ben, I remember, the first time watching this, like that was, his performance was really scary, particularly with the scene that's coming next. Where, you go ahead.
Oh, the zombie sexual assault?
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually really upsetting.
Yeah, it was. And now I have no idea. Like, I thought this movie was, we already said it went off the rails pretty early, but it was kind of like clunking along in the woods towards a destination. And now it's completely veered off and rolled down a hill. And I don't know where we're going to end up, but I'm here. We get a heart-to-heart between Drew and Jeff. And this is where we learn that Gus is being less of an asshole, which again goes against the entire story of the first film. It's like he's being nicer to Drew. He's giving him more pancakes and syrup. He's being nicer to Amanda. Doesn't explain any of that. Eventually turns, but Chase gets the results from Zowie's blood test and inadvertently traumatizes two girls with the kittens.
Oh yeah.
And it's so dark, but I laughed so hard. I felt like a horrible person.
Well, because you don't really see what happens, you just see like the remnants of the that was pretty funny.
That dog just obliterated that cage somehow. Sandro, any thoughts on this scene, or are you just kind of waiting for it to move on?
Well, I wanted to touch on what you say was Gus being nicer. I didn't get that feeling when I was watching this. I found it almost like intimidating. Like he was, for lack of a better phrase, playing with his food.
Oh, he's
Like,
definitely toying with them. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I didn't see it as nicer. I thought it was more like, I'm rubbing it in that you have no idea what's going to happen and I'm going to enjoy this. And like, I did not get nice from it.
Yeah.
No, Drew did, but I mean, Drew's a kid, so
Yeah.
that would make sense, I think.
Yeah, you summed that up very nicely.
I also think too that like so it must have felt pretty good for Drew to be burying his to be burying Gus for one thing, but also that geez, where was I going with that, guys? I'm sorry.
Don't worry, you're more on track than this movie.
Well, that's maybe I can get a job with these folks. We'll see. Jesus, guys, we might have to edit this part out because it's just it's gone.
Never.
Anyway,
never. I did have to bring up going back to the scene in the vet clinic where Chase tells Drew that Zowie isn't okay and to call him if the dog comes home. Could have put a little bit more in there. I have written down, I would say something more along the lines of, your zombie dog broke through its metal cage, obliterated a bunch of kittens, and escaped. Fear for your lives.
yeah, there isn't a whole lot of urgency.
No.
I mean, I could see him not wanting to scare Drew, but at the same time, that might be good, pertinent information.
I would scare the shit out of that kid because he's in danger.
Yeah, it might save his life.
Yeah, call me if you think the dog is outside the house. Don't be like, if he comes home, call me. Like, lock yourself in the house or in a closet or in your room and don't get near the thing. So Chase goes to talk to Dr. Yolander, who was a vet in the original film or book. I don't remember him in the movie at all.
He wasn't in the movie. No.
Okay, good. But I have to say, I think this is actually a really well done scene. Yolander is chewing the scenery in the best way possible. I really like the misdirect with the crow, thinking it was taxidermy, but it's actually just a live crow in his study.
Mm.
And then, Sandra, you said, why is this a sequel? How is this a sequel? It should be its own thing. This feels like a really poor attempt at a remake than a sequel. And
really?
Yeah, I really think it is. If they took the whole Creed thing out of it, I think this would be the equivalent of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, where they're telling the same story, but taking it in drastically different directions and genres, because the first movie it's sad, it's depressing, it's horrific. You care for the characters. Everyone seems to be overacting just enough. Where here, there is nothing to be sad about. You don't feel for any of the characters. The acting is so over the top that originally you hate it, but by the end of the movie, you're loving everything you see because it's so ridiculous. So I think it's a really great contrast, but I would rather not see this as a sequel. Much like Evil Dead 2 had the 2 at it. It was just a remake of the first movie.
Mm.
They should have done the same thing with this and ignore the first movie altogether. And I think it would have been much more appreciated.
It feels like they did ignore the first movie altogether.
It would. I see what you're saying. Don't get me wrong here. It would if they didn't keep referencing it. And that's what weakens this.
That's it. Yeah, they always seems like it's just always just sort of shoehorned in that they have to bring up the Creed family again. That's what makes this a sequel, is just those references. Anyway, it's like this movie is a parody of a bad movie. It's like they were trying to make a bad movie. And so they're like, we'll take every bad movie trope we can and let's make a movie. And that was the idea.
Yeah, I think that would have really worked if everybody was on the same page as Clancy Brown. But you can tell
Yes.
that there are some actors in this movie that are trying to be in a good movie and just didn't know or wouldn't accept the fact that that is not the case. So Jeff and Drew are watching Gus slaughter rabbits. And then we get this dinner scene, which I love because while hilarious, it is off-putting and disturbing. And I think it must have been insanely difficult, or at the very least, quite weird for Clancy Brown to act out.
You think so? He looks like he's having so much fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about like how I would manage to do a scene where I'm laughing maniacally with food just plopping out of my mouth. I really wonder how many takes that went through.
Oh man, they probably took an entire afternoon for that. I'm just picturing in my mind's eye. Ben, you asked earlier what we remember most about the first movie.
Mm,
This scene with the mashed potatoes hanging out of Clancy Brown's mouth
yeah.
is what I think of when I think of Pet Sematary too. That's the first thing that comes into my mind.
Award spoiler.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. There's a few in here that I could have picked, but Chase locks the house for the night and gets his gun ready. And if you're that scared, don't let your son stay at someone else's house. Not only someone else, but the owner of the dog, the dead zombie dog that is insanely violent. If you're willing to protect yourself and put your son in harm's way like that, screw you, man. Like this is a
Total
terrible
nod.
character. And then we get like Chase's weird sex dream that leads
Oh,
into him being attacked by Zowie.
yeah, musical sex dream. I have that written in my
Yeah.
notes.
Dude, do we even waste the time trying to figure out how the dog got into a locked house?
No,
And why is it going
no,
after Chase?
because it's convenient to the plot, of course.
Good
That
Christ.
dream, though. Like, hey, now my fangs are up here. It was just like it was almost as well done as the first one, but just, I I don't know if it says something about his character, but the fact that like the whole frame is just boobs.
Yeah.
And he's
And
like having a great time, and then all of a sudden it's like, "Rawr."
yeah, I mean, I wasn't complaining. I was like, holy shit, movie. Okay, and this is where we're going. I'm all right with this. And then that, like, yeah, you get the dog head. And this, I mean, it's good.
But it was also clearly like a full head mask, right? Like it's just
Oh yeah.
it stopped at the torso or at the shoulders.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine going home and telling your parents, I was just in a big Hollywood movie called Pet Cemetery 2. It's going to be a massive hit. And like, who do you play? Like, naked girl with dog mask? So
Unreal.
the boys have a conversation that ends in me thinking Jeff is one of the dumbest characters ever. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Drew says, do you think, or no, Jeff says, do you think everybody buried there would come back like your stepdad? And Drew says, I don't know. Maybe it depends on what you were like. And Jeff just responds with, before you died? Like, no, dumbass. It depends on what you were like after you died. That makes no sense. And
Oh,
this
Jeff.
this this has gone full popcorn for me, guys.
Oh yeah.
Sandro, at what point did you give up on this movie?
There was this scene where they were filming a movie scene.
Title card.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. So the stone staircase and the candelabra. Like,
Mhm.
okay, here we go. Like from the very first shot, you know that this movie is garbage.
Yeah, this guy said to me, "We're going to be reviewing Pet Cemetery 2," and then it just went downhill.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. But The boys part ways, and Drew sees Clyde on his dirt bike heading the same way as Jeff. And I have to say, I've never seen someone so inept at turning around on a bicycle in my entire life.
I can't believe they kept that shot in the movie.
Do you think it was accidental? Do you think it was planned? Because he falls multiple times.
I think they were like, yeah, you need to make it look like you're struggling to get going, like to add some suspense. But I think they must have had better takes than that.
They had to, right? Because like I get it, but like you fall when you're turning around. I've done it before. That's fine. But when you get back to your feet and then you just fall over, like you don't know how to stand.
He's not the most athletic kid in the world now.
Yeah. Why the Clyde and Jeff scene? Just why? Why would Jeff even think he could outrun Clyde on a dirt bike?
Well, what other choice would he have?
Stop! Just stop! He's gonna catch you, and he's gonna push you off at a speed. Stop! What's he gonna do? Push you to the ground when you're like standing, no motion?
I suppose
Because
so.
Clyde could have very easily killed Jeff by pushing him off that road.
It's true.
The recurring bike wheel threat. How are we feeling about this?
A convenient plot device.
Yeah.
It's it's a good bit of foreshadowing.
But it's also calling back to earlier in the movie.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because he said he dropped the kitten and it got caught in the spokes of his bike. But I don't think having your face pushed into a rotating bicycle wheel would rip your nose off. It would suck, but I highly doubt it would tear off part of your face.
Are we talking about what happens to Clyde?
We're getting there. Because it's Gus. I have Gus to the rescue. I have to say I did laugh when he full on backhands Clyde though. But yeah, Clyde's death, John. You're bringing this one up. I liked it. I thought it was inventive enough. But how did you guys feel about it?
Oh, I like the kill. Yeah, I thought that was one of the more gut wrenching parts of the movie. You know, the scarf getting caught. I mean, I feel like Gus was just kidding around, but then whoops, and decided to finish the job.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you both about that because I'm curious to know. Do you think he would have actually killed Clyde then? Or is he just enough of an asshole where he was actually just toying with him and then that happened? But since he's evil after being brought back through the burial grounds, that was his intent. Because I've wondered about that since the first time I saw this movie.
Yeah, I kind of go back and forth on it. Like on one hand, that is Gus's character, but if he really did want to murder the kid, why would he bother bring him back?
I have a lot of problems with that, which I will get to.
Yeah, so I can see like if he was just actually goofing around and it was a horrible accident, he'd be like, oh well, I'll just put him back in the pet cemetery, and that makes sense to me at least.
Yeah, Sandra.
Well, this scene really had me questioning what the motivations of someone brought back from the pet cemetery are.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when it's an animal, okay, we can't really decipher any sort of deeper meanings. It's maybe just survival, but like here we have a zombie. Is it safe to say zombie Gus?
Yeah, I would say that.
Wants to sexually assault women, make pancakes, threaten to kill children. Like,
who doesn't?
What exactly is his purpose? Does he want to kill people to bring them back to life to create his own zombie family? Like, I think this movie really suffers from making humans reanimated without actually knowing what the purpose of reanimated humans is.
Yeah. And John, maybe you can clarify this. I don't remember. But in the first movie, when someone is brought back, do they only go after their family members?
I don't know, to be sure. I feel like in the book that is the case. Um, but in the movie, there's like a scene where it was one of Judd's sort of storytelling moments, and we get to see what his dog was like, and the neighbor who burned his family's house down.
Yep.
I can't. I'm for whatever reason I'm spacing on that moment, but I felt like there were other people involved in that, but I also could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I was always confused about that because I'm thinking that's kind of a neat plot element, plot device. But what happens when the family's dead? What do they do?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't think there's an answer, but I just found it curious. Drew sees the act of Clyde's murder, which leads to the chase back to the house. And honestly, guys, I loved every bit of this, mainly because of how campy it was.
So
Again, yeah.
this witnessing of the murder, Gus is almost like, uh-oh, shouldn't have seen that.
Yeah.
Was he not gonna try to kill Drew before that? Like, again, what's the motivation?
Oh, I don't think there's a motivation. You need to drop that right now.
Yeah. Plot convenience.
Yeah.
I've said it a few times now.
I have to give the actor that played Drew some credit here. Do you guys remember when he's running from Gus in the house and he slips on the mat?
Not specifically.
It was dealt with like it wasn't supposed to happen, but it worked so perfectly for the scene. And I went back and rewatched it, and you see him running through the living room, and one foot hits that mat, and he pushes off, and it just shoots up from under him, and he like falls and gets up and keeps going, like he's legitimately terrified. Probably the most convincing acting I've seen in this movie that I think all stemmed from an accident. And I think this movie is one big accident.
Is this the scene where Drew gets home first and he tries to get the gun?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's right. I love Gus's line delivery. Isn't something there, Drew, buddy?
I love how he kept calling him Drew, buddy. Yeah. Almost as much as when like Amanda gets home and rescues her son, Drew. And they speed off. Did anyone notice Gus as they fled in the car? He looks genuinely defeated for a second. It's like, shit. And the thing is, when you go to the first movie, when people are brought back, there's really no emotion. And this guy is full of it now. It is so campy, over the top. I loved it. It was another turning point for me. And I really think this is what the whole movie should have been. Like I said, remove like the Jeff Chase story and altogether just focus on the Gilberts. Like Drew, Gus, Amanda. That would have been an amazing movie, in my opinion. How did we feel about the car chase?
I mean, he's just so, like you say, campy. It's like he's chewing the scenery and loving every minute of it, and it's so fun to watch. Now, the car chase. The first thing that I noticed, not one of them are wearing seatbelts. Like, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm a mother. It's 1992. I've got my son riding shotgun and like this maniac who's trying to kill us. And like, I can't see myself not saying like, put your fucking seatbelt on. But there you go.
I didn't remember this at all, and I was very shocked by it. Did either of you remember that Amanda and Drew actually died? Or were you shocked by seeing the fact that they killed off these two characters at this point?
That was shocking. Yeah, the first time for sure. The way the car fills with potatoes. So.
I know. What an insulting death.
Well, I mean, it didn't even look real. It just looks like they just like fill the car with potatoes. Anyway.
Sandro, your take?
Why would you kill off the current protagonist?
Well, you see,
Plot
this is a bad
convenience.
movie, Sandro.
That's right.
Yeah, plot convenience.
Then why does the movie keep going now that the protagonist is dead?
Well, are
We
you
gotta wrap.
saying then that Drew is the protagonist now?
Wasn't he for the middle portion of the movie?
I think so, yeah. They definitely did a switch. But it gives us a reason to go back to Jeff.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted.
Everyone loves Jeff.
Of the two movies that were fused together, the one that made even less sense. Please, go back to that one for the curtain call.
Well, it's time to go back to Clyde's body, where his eyes are open or closed, depending on which shot you're looking at. And Gus is going to put him in the burial ground. So I guess we're abandoning the you have to bury your own rule for now.
Oh, that's right.
Cut to Chase and Marjorie watching a news report about Drew and Amanda's deaths. And I found so many problems here. Who reports on the deaths after the funeral? How much time has passed? The reporter says Clyde's been missing since Saturday, so it must be less than a week, or they would have said last Saturday, which means this is the quickest time to have a funeral that I've ever heard of. When asked how Jeff is doing, Chase says he hasn't talked to him because he's been up in the attic all afternoon. So Chase just never acknowledged these deaths in the first place, but then immediately just goes to the attic to talk to him like he could have in the first place.
Those are all fantastic questions that you will never get an answer to.
No. And it looks like Jeff's planning to bring his mother back because the kids snap now. See, that makes sense. Finally, we get something that makes sense.
Yeah, he's lost his mind.
Yes.
He's creepy. Like, he's got this, like, coming mother kind of like creepiness about him that I feel like Eddie Furlong was perfect for.
Oh, he was definitely drunk or high for this.
Oh,
Had
absolutely.
to be. The caretaker's call, the caretaker from the cemetery, telling Chase that Gus stole Renee's corpse. And when he goes there, he says the dumbest thing ever. This is the weirdest thing that's happened since Lewis Creed dug up his boy. I'm thinking, basically, this hasn't happened since the last time it happened.
Maybe you should have upped security with all these corpses being stolen.
Yeah. And Gus just drove through Drew and Amanda's headstones?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Before Chase left the house, he told Marjorie to not let Jeff leave. She agrees, and the next time we see Jeff is him leaving the house while she's sleeping on the couch. Well done. And it gets weirder here, guys. Jeff goes to the burial grounds where Gus is waiting for him with Renee's body. So this means they planned this together. And not only that, but now you have to bury your own rule is back in place. And we see this pristine headstone, which I guess is a hallucination because you never see it again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Chase goes to Gus's
weird.
house and is immediately attacked by the dog. And then we get the Chase-Gus fight.
Okay, so the line, I hate that dog. Like,
Yes.
I can't believe he went there. It was missing the slide whistle afterwards.
I know. I don't know if this is a good scene or not. Do either of you want to weigh on this? Like, I thought the drill to the open wound was surprisingly cringy. But then, like, a gunshot to the head takes out Gus, and then we get 3 more just in case. Like, are we supposed to start rallying behind Chase? Like, what? Like, did this scene do anything for anybody?
No, like you said, Chase was one of the most unlikable characters. Why would I cheer him on now?
Because the movie wants us to, Sandro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not going to happen.
But the setting, the drill,
Yeah. Well, I think it looked great.
Yes, yeah, it was one of the more captivating parts of the movie. Did it make a whole lot of sense? No, but that's okay.
Marjorie putting on Renee's dress. How could she think that was a good idea?
How could it have taken this long into the movie for that to happen?
Yeah. Renee quickly kills her, so it doesn't matter. And And this is a weird point I have because I found it confusing about how Renee has not decomposed at all. It looks like her face is healed, but when we get the fire later, it's melting. So I guess it was makeup. But if it was makeup, how long has she been in the ground for? Would that not have deteriorated? Why has the rest of her not deteriorated?
It's part of the resurrection process in the pet cemetery, you see.
Oh, okay. I understand now.
Yeah.
It's in the handbook for the recently deceased.
How did how did Renee know Marjorie's name?
That's a great question.
Like, was she just endowed with that, like from the afterlife or something like that? Because it's not like Gus would have filled her in on the way to Chase's house. I don't know.
That, like, John, if you're a frequent listener of this show, you'll find that Sandro and I say I don't know a lot, and this
Yes.
is a perfect example where that's all you can say.
Man, this movie, you want to talk about cat scares, like, keep a tally of I don't knows, this movie is far and away in the lead.
Oh, yeah. Chase returns home to find his wife and son embracing. Clyde shows up and attacks Jeff. So I guess the whole bury your own thing doesn't really work anymore again, unless he's Gus's illegitimate son, which would have added
Maybe
so much to the story if we were only focusing on the Gilberts, like I said before. It would have made a lot of sense.
you could call the movie Zombie Bullies from Maine.
I'd watch
wouldn't
that.
have to be,
I would totally watch that movie.
It's better than Pet Cemetery 2.
See, the thing is, if Jeff was the illegitimate son of Gus and Renee, is it? I can't even remember the mom's name. I don't care.
Renee, you got it.
Then it would also make a lot more sense why Gus was saying those things about, I used to date Renee.
Yeah.
Because, okay, now maybe we're at least not making as much sense, or maybe making a little bit more sense, but we're at least creating a connective thread here.
No. You don't get that here.
Yeah, I think the script supervisor missed a few of the meetings.
I think they needed to hire a script supervisor.
I think they needed a script.
Yeah. Renee sets fire to the attic and Jeff kills Clyde through electrocution. Thoughts on that one?
It's a cool kill.
Mm-hmm.
Shove a fucking live wire down the guy's throat. That was very inventive.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I liked Clyde by any means, because it didn't. But if he gets electrocuted and Jeff has clearly gone to the villainous side, who's the protagonist now?
There isn't one, Sandro.
You're right. There just isn't one. They're like, who's the protagonist? Nope.
Yeah.
It's the Wendigo, basically.
I guess,
I would say that the Wendigo is the main character in both movies. If you really needed to pick one.
Did anyone notice that when Jeff gets the axe away from Clyde and it flies across the room and lands at Renee's feet, she's afraid of it and jumps up? Why?
That was strange, wasn't it?
No other reanimated character has any fear of anything at all. How does Jeff not electrocute himself in the process of killing Clyde? Clyde is on top of him.
He was holding the shielded part of the cable.
Yeah, but Clyde was straddling him.
I suppose. Yeah, good call. The human skin is quite conductive.
Yeah. And like you said, John, this Clyde said this is great. The sounds they use, the sound effects, absolutely fantastic. But now Renee's face melts. And why is she just standing there, engulfed in flames, and dies again?
Your father and I are trying to work it out, and then to drive it right home. Dad is better.
Oh yeah, bring that line back from the first movie when it actually made sense. Then here, terrible.
Yes, yeah. Here it just sort of felt very Very made for TV campy.
Yeah. And then we get this ending that seems like it was so rushed and made for a TV movie. Because it's like sometime later, Chase and Jeff close up the vet clinic and leave town, and a helicopter shot takes us to the burial ground. Cut to black, roll credits, end of movie. But first, how does Chase explain the bodies in the remains of his house? This has to be prison for sure, right, guys?
Well, I mean, the sheriff's dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we have to assume they went on the run.
Yeah.
And if this is the case, they didn't really seem to be in any rush locking up the clinic. They're also in an easy to spot mobile vet clinic because that's the only car it seems like Chase has. They're like, think about the bodies in the house. You've got the missing teenager, Clyde. You've got the live-in nanny, I guess, Marjorie. You've got a recently exhumed corpse that the owner of the house was married to. And now Chase and Jeff are missing. That's a setup for a movie I'd probably watch.
Yeah. That would be a much better movie, I would think.
Yeah, I would think so too. So that's the end of Pet Sematary 2. And then we get a remake and a prequel later on. But guys, I need to ask, everything we've seen in this movie, how much do you think the movie cost to make?
$9 million.
I'm somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah, I'd say 9, 10. Yeah.
8. So
Okay.
well
Okay.
done.
Cool.
What do you think its gross was?
Oh, the whole thing was gross.
4.5.
Gross incompetence. Maybe it got a little bit of money off of the name, which I have to imagine is the only reason that this was called Pet Sematary 2.
And Eddie Furlong. Like
Eddie Furlong.
Hot off of T2.
I'm going to say 16.
17-1.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
The ratings, I think we can all agree on. No one really cared for it too much. IMDb is always a little bit more than Rotten Tomatoes, but what do you think it got out of 10 for IMDb?
5.
4.2.
John's closest, 4.9. You're both pretty close. Rotten Tomatoes over at Tomato Meter, the percentage of positive reviews.
26.
$1, Bob.
21.
Oh.
And the popcorn meter, the fans, or the viewers, I should say.
It's going to be something stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a 72.
No, I'm staying low. I'm going to go 12.
31.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah. Moving into awards, I'm very, very curious to see who we all chose for.
All right. So we do ask that our guests go first. So,
right.
John, who did you have for your least favorite character?
That's Chase. I mean, it just, like I said earlier, he is just sort of there, and his personality changes depending on what is needed for the plot, and
Yeah.
it just sort of felt like a waste of space.
I was going to say the exact same thing, but I thought the rhyme would have gotten everyone that Chase is a waste of space. It was like Anthony Edwards is a good actor, so I'm not going to rip on him for this, but I feel like he was given a version of a script where Chase was a character worth taking on. And when he signed on and then got a revised script, he's like, I don't care anymore. Sure, whatever. And I think that came through in his acting. But that Chase character is absolutely useless. Sandro?
I went with Edward Furlong as Jeff. Honestly, I had difficulty picking because there was so many choices.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, honestly, it's just based on personal disappointment because Edward Furlong is in my favorite movie of all time. And I thought he did a great job there. So watching this just made me sad.
Yeah. No, I get that too, man. Like we all love Brain Scan.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite movie?
No.
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 Right.
Although, I mean, it is a fun movie. It's not a good movie. It is a fun movie.
You are talking about Terminator 2, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Cool.
All right. So, John, who did you have for your favorite character? I have a feeling we're all going to have the same one.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. I think he carried the whole movie, Mr. Clancy Brown. He's just so just he goes from this like terrible villain of an asshole to like a likable zombie. Who knew? It's so. If not for him, there would be absolutely no reason to watch this movie.
I thought we were all going to say
Sandra?
Zowie the dog.
Oh yeah.
I mean, definitely in the running. Didn't piss me off. But yeah, I'm going to go with obviously Clancy Brown. I mean, there's not much that I can say to redeem this movie, except for at least his acting was good and provided some level of entertainment, which is more than so much of this movie can say.
Yeah. Yeah, I also had to go with Gus, played by Clancy Brown. John, you nailed it because he went from a complete asshole to even worse, but did it in such a way where you had fun watching him on screen. Before he was sleazy, and then he was a blast. And I think if you were to ever tell anybody to watch this movie, it's because of his performance. So how could it be anybody else?
100%.
Okay, John, what did you have for your favorite or most memorable line?
You know what? I mean, there's a few.
No, there isn't.
But, well, you know, you forgetting something, Drew, buddy? Wait, Gus is holding up the bullets. That delivery is just, it gets me every time. It's so good.
Okay, and Ben, what Gus line did you have?
It was Gus, actually. And it was in the middle of like a couple of lines that he had when he was chasing Drew through the house, where he's like reading him his rights.
You're gonna have the same one as me.
It's one segment of that, and it is, "You have the right to an attorney. You won't need one because you'll be dead. Do you understand these rights, Drew, buddy?" And it's just, you're supposed to hate this character, but you can't, because the character is so ridiculous and over the top. You can't play it straight. Clancy Brown, I never really saw as a guy who does anything other than like be intimidating, but letting him be comedic is the smartest thing Mary Lambert could have done in this movie, because he steals it. He's my favorite character, but he doles out the best lines of the movie. There's a list you could pick from. You could just put memorable lines, plural, and it's just all of his dialogue from the movie. Sandra, what do you have?
Oh, I was right when I called it. You picked mine. That's exactly what I had written down. So
great minds.
Yeah. I mean, they were all Gus lines. I'm pretty sure that was going to be the case right from the start. John, what did you have for your favorite or most memorable scene?
Again, so many, and I spoke on it earlier, but with Gus and the mashed potatoes hanging out of his mouth and eating supper with the boys, it's just so good.
I think that's an absolutely amazing scene. It really is. It shows effort because, like I said, I don't think that would have been easy to film without like laughing your ass off. I think that Drew and Jeff, the actress Edward Furlong, I forget the actor who played Drew, but them fake laughing was really, really well done. But I think I like that more because I don't think I could have kept a legitimately straight face while he was doing that. I would have very much lost my mind laughing like a maniac.
Yeah.
Sandro, memorable scene or favorite scene?
Gus killing Clyde with the motorcycle.
Yeah, why does that stand out?
I mean, Clancy just had fun with it.
Mhm.
Sometimes you gotta just enjoy murdering a child.
Yeah, I get that. I picked the exact same scene.
Motorbike.
Yeah, it is far from my favorite scene, but if anybody ever mentions Pet Sematary 2, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Because I had never seen anything like that before when I first watched the movie, and it stands out. It is brutal, it is violent, and it's juxtaposed with how unimportant it seems to Gus, because he's like, "Whoops," and that's it.
It's so good.
Like I meant to scare him. I didn't mean to kill him, but he's dead. So what are you gonna do? And just
Yeah,
goes on
whatever.
with his life. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to final thoughts. John, would you do the honors here?
Final thoughts on Pet Cemetery 2. Well, like I said, I think it's the perfect movie for like having a few drinks with friends,
Mhm.
especially if they never seen it before. Um, oh, just one other thing before to play us out, the Ramones, right?
Yep.
Both Pet Cemetery movies have the Ramones on the soundtrack, and this is just only tangentially related. But Ben, do you remember back in the day when I was playing in a band and I covered Poison Heart, and
Yes, I do.
I remember, yeah, and I remember hey, you you're like, that's a hymn song, right? I'm like, actually, it's a Ramones song. You're like, it is. And I was thinking to myself, like you probably knew that at some point, or maybe you were young enough that you didn't. But that song is featured prominently over the end credits in this movie.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes music stands out more than anything else in a movie.
That's true. That's true. And I think I honestly have to credit the Ramones with even getting me watching the first one to begin with. So there you go. That's my point of entry into this franchise. But I only bring that up because anytime I think of that song, I think of you, and I'm like, we're both big hymn fans, and I'm sure you'd love the Ramones version too.
And I do. To this day, I absolutely adore it.
Nice end of the movie. So yeah, there's my thoughts.
Okay, Ben, your final thoughts?
Um, this is a horrible movie. Um, like capital H horrible. I do love it though. Um, it is all over the place. It's a complete mess of a film. It is a disaster, but a beautiful disaster. It's kind of like a Thanksgiving dinner where you've got all of these intricate parts to a meal, and by the end of it, you've just slopped everything onto your plate, and you're like, "Well, let's dig in," because it is visually unappealing. It just seems like a giant mess, but for some reason, you can't stop eating it. It just tastes so good. This movie is just that. But it's bad, but it's so enjoyable once it gets rolling and once it finds its personality. You just have to check your brain at the door, and you will have a good time. I don't think I can actually recommend it to anybody. It's almost kind of locked in that closet of guilty pleasures because while there's so much wrong with it, at the end you're just so satisfied with what you watched, and sometimes you need to take a break from it. It's like McDonald's, right? Like it's good every now and then, but if you ate it all the time, you would hate yourself and you'd probably die. Uh, Sandro, your takeaways, your final thoughts on this movie.
Oh, I don't think that you need to ask that. I think you are I'm pretty sure you are aware of what my thoughts of this movie are.
And that's where you want to leave it?
Okay, fine. I'll leave it at this. John, it's a good thing that I don't determine how much I like a person based on their movie recommendations. So that should tell you how I feel about this. Never again do I ever want to even think about this movie's existence.
Really?
Oh, come on, Sandro, buddy.
Nope, never again.
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty terrible movie, but I'm with Ben on this. It's just like he said. By the end, it's just so satisfying, and you didn't get that, eh?
I felt very satisfied that the movie was finally over and that I could stop watching it. So, yeah, it was very satisfying there at the end.
Yeah, it honestly, it feels like a Tales from the Crypt movie. And I really think it should have been. Remove all the original Pet Sematary nostalgia and the lore and just have this as a standalone. I think it would have been a better follow-up to Demon Knight than Bordello of Blood. It's just too ridiculous to be a good movie.
That's just it. Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. It's just the perfect pulpy camp goodness that you'd expect from Tales from the Crypt. You wouldn't expect it from, a franchise based on Stephen King property. But
yeah.
All right, so that's our thoughts on Pet Sematary 2. If you'd like to share your thoughts with us, you can hit us up on social media. We are on Twitter at BSBargainBin, Facebook.com/BSBargainBin, and of course, the comment section of the YouTube video. Ben.
Yo.
What are we watching next time?
Well, we're going with another horror sequel. I'm excited to talk about it, and I'm curious to know what you think about it. Because we're talking 2001's Jason X.
yes.
In the year 2455, on a routine training mission, a team of students is about to discover a life form frozen in time.
Wow.
They're on their way back. Prepare for docking and power up the lab.
You brought him on board?
Everything's under control, ma'am.
What the hell is going on?
Jason Voorhees, that's what's going on. He's an unstoppable killing machine.
Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back.
How do we get off the ship?
I don't know.
Look, we're gonna be all right.
What? Are you high?
Uh-oh.
He's here. You have got to get them out of there.
Hey, Slappy.
I think we're finally okay.
What the hell is that? You've got to be kidding me.
Oh, wow.
He's been modified. Oh, you think?
You guys might want to run.
I don't think he's out there.
Why don't you just stick your head out and have a peek?
Until next time, have a good one.
All the best.
This program is a proud part of the Swear2Pod Network.